A video released by Ukraine shows a dozen Russian armored vehicles destroyed by Kiev's forces on the battlefield. Ukraine's main intelligence directorate, HUR, shared the aerial drone footage on its social media channels, saying one of its units burned more than a dozen Russian vehicles in a single day. Both Moscow and Kyiv are reported to have lost large amounts of personnel and equipment after Russia started an offensive in the Kharkiv region on May 10th, seizing villages on Ukraine's northeastern frontier. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky said on June 8th that Russia's Kharkiv region offensive had not succeeded. A very significant result is that the Russian army failed. The direction is strengthened, and it will be strengthened more, he said after a meeting with Ukraine's army chief, Oleksandr Syrsky. Enemy logistics are under attack. Scouts at the front are destroying Russian equipment, the HUR said on Wednesday. Soldiers of the special unit of the HUR of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Kabul 9, on the front lines burned more than a dozen units of automobile and armored vehicles of the Muscovites in a day. The HUR went on. Effective work on the destruction of the logistics of the Russian invaders with the help of FPV drones continues. Ukrainian media reports that the HUR's Kabul 9 unit was formed at the beginning of Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, and that members include veterans of the Ukrainian army. Last month, a senior intelligence officer with the HUR's Kabul 9, who goes by the call sign Deputat, told RBC Ukraine that the intelligence unit destroys a lot of enemy vehicles during one mission. This includes armored vehicles, armored personnel carriers, tanks, and unarmored vehicles. As there are no such intense actions and assaults in our area, as for example, in the Donbass or Kharkiv region, we are now actively fighting their logistics routes, he said. The General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces posts figures on Russia's troop and equipment losses as part of its daily update on the war. It said Russia lost 17 armored personnel vehicles in the past day, bringing the total number to 15,583. Russian casualties in Ukraine are nearing 550,000. According to figures published by Ukraine's military, with reported artillery, vehicles, and other equipment losses closing in on new milestones. Ukraine's armed forces said on Wednesday that Russia had sustained around 546,270 casualties in Ukraine since February 2022, including 1,180 fighters killed or injured in the past day. Publishing updated figures, Kyiv also said Russia had lost 57 artillery systems in the previous 24 hours, bringing Ukraine's tally of Russia's total artillery losses close to 15,000. According to Ukraine's numbers, Moscow has lost a combined total of nearly 20,000 vehicles, including fuel tanks. This does not include tanks and armored personnel carriers or infantry fighting vehicles, which are counted separately. Russian troops have also lost close to 2,500 items of what Ukraine's armed forces dub special equipment, the updated count from Kyiv's military indicates. A broad term, special equipment covers losses of assets such as electronic warfare systems, radars, and maintenance vehicles. The British government estimated in late May that Russia's total casualties had likely reached 500,000. Throughout May 2024, Moscow's average daily casualty count stood at more than 1,200. The UK Defense Ministry said, marking the highest monthly average number of daily losses for Russia of the full-scale war. Kyiv's defense ministry said on Monday that Moscow had sustained more than 35,000 casualties throughout June, marking the second highest number of casualties in a single month since February 2022. Ukraine has also suffered heavy losses and rarely offers updates on the toll of fending off Russian assaults. In late February, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said 31,000 Ukrainian troops had been killed in 2 years of war. Russia has said Ukraine's death toll is much higher, saying Kyiv lost 215,000 soldiers in 2023 alone. Russia has made slow but steady gains, particularly in the heart of the fighting in eastern Ukraine, in recent months, but at a huge cost to its personnel. Western intelligence and experts suggest many of the Russian soldiers currently on the front lines have limited training, often volunteers or convicts, and cannot carry out complex operations. Ukraine has said Russia is able to pull up to 30,000 new soldiers each month into its ranks. Propping up the bloody and casualty-heavy tactics Moscow has used against Kyiv's forces to make slow but consistent territorial gains. In a separate statement, Ukraine's government said earlier this week that Russia had lost a record number of artillery systems in the last month, adding in a post to social media that 1,415 Russian artillery systems were destroyed in June.